Hello friend, and welcome to the Betta side of YouTube. We will be talking about specific types of floating plants that are really great to have in your Betta tank. I recently had someone ask me what types of floating plants would I recommend for a Betta tank, so I thought what better time than the present to create a video on it. Now, the three plants that I will be mentioning first are ones that I have personally had. The other two I have not had yet. However, I may want to get some in the future, but I have heard really good things about them from other fish keepers, so I know that these are good for your Betta tank. Number one, Ricca spangles. If I mispronounce any of the plant names, feel free to correct me or just disregard it, whichever one you decide. Those are my favorite, honestly. I have kind of struggled with some of the other floating plants, but this one has always done really well. I love how they look, I love how unique they are. Definitely one of my top favorites right now. I never had trouble growing them. I slapped them in my tank and then they just multiplied like crazy. So I love these. Number two, Amazon frogbit. Really is a great plant, and once it takes in your aquarium, once it gets used to your water perimeters, will multiply like crazy, and you will find yourself either throwing them away or giving them to fellow fish keepers. Number three, giant duckweed. While everyone, including me, doesn't care much for duckweed, I love giant duckweed because it grows like duckweed, but it's larger and it looks better. The roots stay very short, so if you don't like the long roots that reach all the way to the bottom of the tank that Amazon frogbit puts out, then you will love giant duckweed. Number four, water lettuce. This plant is beautiful. I love how it looks, but when you get it for your tank, make sure that you are getting the smaller variant. I've seen ones that can get about that big around. Those are usually placed in larger bodies of water, like a background pond or a giant 50-gallon tank or something. So make sure you have the smaller variant. These are so different, and I really do like them because of the fuzzy tops. I grew up with calico critters, and if you know what they are, they're just little animal figure toys, and the tops were fuzzy. I don't know, they just remind me of that. Maybe that's why I love them, I don't know. I think they're cool. Moving on, the last plant that I will be discussing today is salvinia. Again, I have never had this plant before, but I am actually looking to add some into my tank. I do have three different kinds of floaters in both tanks, so it might be a little much to add another extra one, but I would love to try this one. I have noticed that they do tend to stay smaller than floaters like frogbit and water lettuce, so if you want a smaller one, definitely go with this one. Bonus section, I have decided to tell you a little bit about where you can purchase these plants, because I know sometimes you may decide you want some, but you may not exactly know where to purchase. First place you can look for these plants would be at your fish store, at your local pet store. Pet stores like PetSmart and Petco, they may not have them. If they have them, and I have seen them before, they will likely be in these little cups, and they're very small. That is what I saw last time when I went to a Petco. I haven't been there for quite a while because I don't have one in my area, but they did have a few floating plants. My main problem was that they were charging $4 to $5 for just a few tiny ones in that cup. And I was just afraid that I would spend a lot of money and then they would die and they wouldn't do well. To start with a larger portion, that way if some of them die while they're getting used to my water perimeters, I don't have to worry about losing all of them. The second place you can find them is online. The internet offers many storefronts that you can purchase floating plants from. There are honestly too many to name, so I will leave it up to you to do your research, but online is a great place to purchase floating plants. If you don't have a good pet store, if your pet store doesn't offer a good variety of these, maybe they don't have any, see if you can connect with any local fish keepers. Maybe you even have a friend that's a fish keeper. Ask them if they have floating plants that they would be willing to share with you, or even sell to you for a small price. I actually have a friend in my neighborhood who has floating plants. She gave me all of the ones that I have, and they are thriving in my tank, and she let me get started with those completely for free. So it's definitely worth checking out. Sometimes you can also check Facebook Marketplace. You may be able to find some listings for floating plants that way as well. The last place, it may vary depending on where you are located. I know some places don't support the same websites, but if you have Mercari, which is a lot like eBay, I honestly prefer Mercari myself. It is a website where people sell all kinds of things. Usually it's something that's used, or you can actually find a lot of listings for floating plants on Mercari from individual fish keepers that just have too many in their tank for a decent price. I hope that this video helped you. If you already have floating plants, let me know which one is your favorite. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to join my free Facebook group, the Betta Fish Forum. It is a wonderful place to ask questions, to share, just to appreciate bettas together. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you soon.